So hello and welcome. It's Anja, Parenting Success Coach for our Conscious Parenting Experience. And I'm very happy today that we have the lovely Mickey Eves joining us. Mickey is an empowerment coach and a growth mindset specialist. And welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I love what you are doing. I think this is so important. And the way you're presenting it in real time for real families is so important.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Very nice. So let's just jump right in. And if you would please tell us a little bit about yourself, sort of before kids, kind of what life was like, what what was going on for you, and then we can go into who you're parenting.
Sure. So I grew up on a farm, and I had two parents who are still married, which is not the norm, but they've been together for a very long time. They were high school sweethearts. And they had their first child at 18. So, which was young.
Mm-hmm.
I was the third, and there's three of us. We're 3 years apart, and my mom was 25 when she had me. So they were young parents.
Mm-hmm.
Neither one of them came from money. So the environment growing up on our little farm was that work was something that you had to do. It wasn't particularly easy.
Mm-hmm.
And because both my parents were very generous, they gave away a lot of what they had, whether it was services or, my dad was also a mechanic. So, things were often done at a discount.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't learn, and this, I'm not bad mouthing them. This is what.
For sure. This is how we grow up. This is how
my perception, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That when you got things or you had money, give it away. Because those who had money were snobby. The educated, richer culture would look down upon you, so humble, and have only what you need.
Interesting.
Right? So, it was interesting situation to grow up in as a kid because we never wanted for anything. We never had the name brand clothes or the best of the best. We never did without. But what we did gain was a real strong sense of family, which is something that you can't go and buy. There's no name brand on.
No, there's not.
Yeah. But unfortunately, or fortunately, now that I've learned to turn it around, what I took from that as a kid was the worse off you were, the more attention you would get. I know. And it took me a long time to realize that was the platform that I was basing my existence off of. So you create a lot of illnesses. And if you didn't have an illness, you pretended you did.
Oh, dear.
Right?
Yeah. It's amazing how deep all that runs, right?
Right. Yeah. I know. And it wasn't until I'd had my second child, I have 3.
Okay.
I was 32, and I was a migraine sufferer. And they were real. I wasn't making them up.
Yeah.
And I started to hear about the mind-body connection. And I'd had them often enough that they were stopping me from doing the things that I wanted to do with my kids. And I thought, there's got to be more to life than either taking medicine or, ignoring, what's going on, trying to push through or not getting to do what you wanted to do. How much of this am I actually contributing to my own existence?
Ooh, those are big awarenesses, right? Because it's so much easier the other way to just go, I'm just a migraine sufferer, I'm just going to stay with this. This is how my life is.
I was so attached to the story of here's the hardship. Look what's happened to me. Right. Which is not actually the way it happens, right? We actually create it. Nothing's happening to me. But I remember at that moment when I read my first mind-body connection book, and I went, oh my gosh, I have been doing this backwards all along. Wow. However, waiting that long meant that I'd had enough. I wasn't just going to dabble in it. I was in because I was so tired of it. Right.
So, and this was, you said, by your second child?
Yeah, I was 32.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So, and growing up through school, I never felt that I was smart enough or capable enough or, any of those things. So, we were talking about no topics off limit.
Mm-hmm.
When I was 32, that was the first book I ever read. All through school, I faked my way through school. I would read the front cover and the back cover. We would buy the Coles Notes, which anybody knows what that is anymore, but
I think they have a computer version of the
It's probably online, yeah. I would read the front and the back cover of those.
Mm-hmm.
So at 32, I had completed something for the first time. Right? Which was really interesting for me anyway.
And also very interesting based on being a sort of a survivor and a doer as you go along in order to have completed high school, in order to have kind of hidden that for a very long time.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I was pretty crafty at how I could get myself out of tight situations thinking that I was being successful. But what I was really doing was solidifying the fact that I didn't feel good enough to do it. Right. I wasn't capable enough to say, I don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm. So, that's hard.
Which is something that a lot of kids go through now. And so I can use all of that in terms of identifying and really not just empathizing, but helping to really get in there with the kids, because I can truly understand where they're coming from, because I was there too, right?
Wonderful. So how has that shown up in your parenting with your children, would you say? So it wasn't till the second that the kind of real hang on, I have a choice here. So would you say there's a difference a little bit in how you parented the first to the third?
Well, it's nice because when I had this sort of light bulb moment, my oldest was only like 3.5. So she was still, pretty little. So she was able to get all of this information growing up. Now the kids are 19, 17, and 11. And what I have learned through parenting them is you're never going to have it all together. It's always a work in progress. Yeah. And what works with one child is more than likely not going to work with the second child.
Completely not, right? You think you've got it. You're having, I got this bit figured out. If this happens, and then it's like, what?
Yes. Throw a third into the mix and they're off the chart.
Oh, I can imagine.
Because the parenting needs to adapt. And birth order and life circumstances that change as you add more children to the mix and develop your own, sense of growth, that has a huge impact on how the kids respond. Yeah. Right? Yeah. So you're never going to have it together. And the best thing you can do is go, I don't know. Yes. I really don't know. Don't pretend you do, because nobody knows.
That was a huge one. That was kind of a big part of my own conscious parenting journey, was finally, as things would come up, I'd be like, I don't know. I've never parented a 6-year-old who was a boy at this stage, in this day, on this way, blah, blah, blah. This is all new to me, but I can figure it out, or we can figure it out. But it was that real being able to say, I don't know.
It's so freeing to know that you don't have to have it together, right?
You assume you should know, and that's why we respond really fast. And then when we get a second to think, that whole mind-body connection, you sort of go, actually, why did I say no? It's not a big deal that's what they want to do, or whatever the circumstance.
Yeah. Well, the Dalai Lama was here in Toronto back in, I think it was 2011, and I went to go see him, and somebody asked him a question, and he said, I don't know. And I thought, oh my gosh, if the Dalai Lama can just so freely throw out I don't know, I'm like, who am I to have to think I have to have it all together, right?
Yes, that's true. There's the king there. Yeah. Mindfulness. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. So no, it's been it's such a ride. It's such a joyful ride that pulls your heart in so many different directions. And I don't have it all together. I've got some tools. I've got some skills. I've now learned the ability to just listen to my kids, to not offer a solution all of the time. Mm-hmm. That, Anja, is probably one of the biggest pieces of advice that I can offer, is when your kids come home, and I've been fortunate enough to be home for them when they're here after school. Mm-hmm. that's a time bomb waiting to go off for some kids, right? Because they come home, this is their safe environment.
Mm-hmm.
And this is when I hear a lot of parents say their behavior is just horrible. And well, this is where they feel that they can let it all hang out. But what I learned works the best is you don't have to answer all of the questions.
They're not even asking. They're just
No.
right? If they say, Mum, what do you think? It's different, but they're generally not saying,
Right.
hey, help me.
Yeah. And when the kids would come home and they would have had something that went on, if I gave them permission to just let it all out, don't add your piece of, well, you shouldn't have this, or what if that, or maybe none of that. Just, and then say to them, if you need to cry, let's do that and just get it out. And it was so funny because when I very first started to do this, they would cry and they would cry really hard and they'd have their head on my lap or, whatever it was. And then you could see that they were actually feeling the relief. And when the crying was subsiding, they'd do this, like trying to keep it going. So,
I quite like that relief. Yeah.
They were done. And then at that point, if you have something to offer it then. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, let them work through it. They're more resilient and stronger than we know, right?
Absolutely. And we often really assume what would help them. And if we're not listening, our assumption is so way off so many times. And who's to say we know better? That's always the big one. Who's to say that we weren't there? We don't know, all the other layers. It's not always just a one trigger.
Right. And often when you talk yourself through something and just dump it out, it's not nearly the heated, trigger that it was when they came in the door. Same goes for the parents, right?
Oh, I was going to say, absolutely. Absolutely. I remember picking my guys up from school and I'd be in the car and I'd be so happy and excited to see them. And they'd sort of, more my daughter's energy and mine, but they'd get in the car and I felt almost like physically beaten up by this, and this, and then the blah, blah. And it was really one of those things, the protection of myself to listen. And I'm not, because otherwise I'm like, oh, how can let's go in and talk to that teacher. Oh, for that girl needs a talent.
Why do we make this all shiny again?
Please don't suffer. Please don't suffer.
That's right.
So that's beautiful. That's really wonderful perspective and advice that is so important, I think. Now, the other question too for you then would be, based on your own support system. So for you, Mickey, not just as a mum,
right?
Do you have that? Has that been all along, or is that kind of something you're growing into?
My sister and I, the one that's closest in age to me, because I'm the youngest, she does similar kind of work to me. So she won't let me get away with shit, pardon my language. No, but she will hold my hand and she will kick me in the rear end at the same time, which is really great because you need to have someone call you on your crap. Yes. Right? One of the best pieces of advice that I ever heard was Esther Hicks. And she said, a good friend will listen to your problem once. Oh. Right? Ooh. Then they will point you in the direction of a solution. And even if you don't have a solution, do not allow somebody to stay in that story. Oh, I like that. I know. Isn't that resonates? Good? I love that. Because otherwise you're an enabler. Yes. Yeah. And quickly, before you even know it. Right. And then after a while you go, oh, there they are again. Yeah. Right? They're constantly a downer. Interesting. Yeah. Okay. And then so the support is there. And then also the side of your own self-care. Has that been something from the beginning or more? No, it's a developing thing, right? Because I invited illness. Right. I totally invited illness. And what I found is I would get really frustrated if I reached out to somebody and they weren't there. Right. If I had an issue or something that I needed, what I thought would be immediate help, if nobody happened to be available, it was such a blessing. And I've learned to flip that because then I had to sit in it in my own thought process. Right. Nobody outside of me could solve it. So I've learned that my own self-care is actually self-care. Right. So yeah, going for massages and things like that are really great. But self-care for me is getting your own mind clear. right? Letting your own stuff, whatever your stuff is, only stay until you get the lesson. And get that lesson quickly and move on, because it's an anchor.
Right.
It's an anchor, and it's not going to help you. So move on as quickly as you can and celebrate the success of letting it go.
Yeah.
So my self-care is more, not so much the external stuff,
right?
But how have I learned to fuel and feed my own soul? How have I learned that I can do things in my own unique way that don't fit in the box of what we are supposed to be doing or what everybody else is doing?
Right.
And that is so cool once I lean into that.
Yeah. That's beautiful, because that then is obviously, you're not working from a place of an empty cup. If you're doing that, the fulfillment is such a centered place that you, like you say, sure, who doesn't love a massage or the pedicure or whatever, or a night out with friends can fill you, but it's not filling you just that little sip, because you're already here. It's a bonus, a joy.
Yes. So I think of it like this. You know, when you go to I've never been to one actually, but those champagne tower glass.
Okay.
Like the fountains that you see, and the champagne pours in the top cup.
Right.
You think of yourself as the top cup, and then the next layer down is your family and your work and your community, your church, like whatever it is that you've got. But if you pour into the first one, the very top one, which is you, and you have it so overflowing that it then fills up the rest. And you never go without, because if you skip your layer and pour into the others, your cup's bone dry. And it doesn't work that way.
No.
It doesn't. No. Because then you start looking for other people to make you feel okay. Right? Yeah.
Wow. Hey, I want to be watching this now. Perfect advice. Perfect. So I think the only other question that I have for you then, based on this, would be, because that's beautiful, self-care, and you have the support, and obviously because with your sister, that's been from the beginning, from first baby on.
Yes,
right?
yes. So she gets it, right? Yeah, she gets it.
She gets it, which is just a real priceless
it is.
to have in your
But
work.
if you don't have that, you don't have to have somebody in the same environment to get it.
No.
And they're going to offer different pieces of insight because they're not so close to the situation. So that's beautiful too. It doesn't have to be a sibling. It can be anyone.
Absolutely. And often, depending on the relationship with the sibling, that might not be the first. I was reading, I can't remember I can't remember from where it was, but she was talking about, if as a support system, you don't necessarily, maybe a sibling is a perfect person, but if your sibling cannot support you on that issue, let them just be their sibling. Let them be your sister and have a sister relationship, for example. But find where there is that support, that you feel supported. Because sometimes we're in that place thinking, well, I should feel supported. Something must be wrong with me. Like, I've got people around me. But if it's not the support for you, it's not support.
That's not their role in your life. And be okay with that. Stop trying to force it if it's not there naturally. Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. The other thing I found too is that I belong to a lot of really great Facebook groups who have really, the people who belong to them have very similar philosophies and whatnot. But I found recently I had to back off from all of those groups because I was listening to other people's woes and troubles and hardships, which is great, but I found I was absorbing them. I wasn't ready to read them and not have it go in. Not that I was taking their issue, but it felt heavy.
Yeah.
Right. So even just backing off from that, I think, is self-care, and recognizing that that's not a good place for me to hang out right now.
Yeah.
Right. And just being respectful of what your body's going, that does not feel good. And that's okay.
And what's so incredible with all of these journeys in us as parents and what we're figuring out is we're letting our children be aware those are skills that they have much way earlier than we had. It's way earlier that they're able to say, that doesn't feel good, that friendship. Or I tried to join this club, but I was there and I thought, whoa, feels kind of strange,
So, and then on that note, if I could just offer this is one thing that I offer to the kids when they come in, because I do one-on-one counseling with kids as well.
Right.
And then with the parents, typically the moms, dads have come in, but it's usually the moms, and then the families. And often parents will come in and they'll say, they're so angry. The kids are so angry. And I'll ask the moms, What do you do when you're angry? What do you physically do when you're angry? What do your kids witness you doing? And this is not something that you teach them by saying, when you're angry, slam the door. Don't talk to people. Right. Cry. Right? Do you have an appropriate expression for anger? And model that.
Yeah.
Right? Whether it's screaming into a pillow, like something, and we talk about this, has to be appropriate. It can't be harming any person or any things. And typically I suggest that they get one pillow or something that is the angry pillow. That they can put it away and not have to look at it and be reminded of anything else. Right. If you go scream in the pillow or you throw it down on the floor at a little target and the kids see the parents doing that, then they're like, oh, it's okay to be angry. Yeah, but you don't want to sit in it.
No.
And moms are masters at turning anger into sadness. Sadness quickly turns into guilt.
Yes. Oh, right? This heavy load of guilt from being a parent and not getting it right. Yeah.
Yeah. And so the kids sort of witness this behavior being demonstrated, or not at all. They don't see anything. But if you can model some of the ugly stuff for them, right? Or just say like you were saying in the car, when the kids have their turn, and if they say, how was your day? I had a really crappy day. This person was really rude to me and blah, blah, blah. But here's what I did. Yeah. Or I'm not gonna carry that home. Thanks for listening, because now that's out of me.
I do a big one where you go, not mine.
Yeah, not my circus, not my monkeys. Right? So, yes. Yeah. But I think often we turn away from the ugly stuff. Right? But that's what we actually need to be talking about, because the kids don't learn how to do it if they don't get shown.
No, and it's such an integral part of us being a human being.
Yeah.
We can have it all. We can be jealous, we can be angry, we can be fearful, we can be really raging, and we can be really shy, and it's all part of it.
Yes, it is.
I heard of a lovely thing that somebody had to be able to name emotions, because we stick with pretty black and white emotions, right?
Yeah.
I'm mad, I'm this.
Right.
Take it deeper, and to help people they had on their fridge tons and tons of different kinds of emotions and variations of emotions, and so that you can name it, and then you can let it go, right? You can name it and say, no, I'm not annoyed. No, this is the one. This is what I'm feeling.
Well, here's a great one that I'll throw out there for adults. Can of course do this too, but kids are so great at using their imagination. If they're angry or upset or whatever, I'll get them to close their eyes and I'll say, what color is it? Right? They'll go by the color and I'll say, bring it out on your hand. And then it's out of their body. I'll go, ask it what its name is. Right? And then it doesn't even have to be a label, because the name can be whatever pops into their mind. Yeah. Right? And it doesn't have to be, well, I've heard angry is also called blah, blah, blah. It can be called whatever.
Yes, that's lovely. Right? I like that.
What does it need?
Yeah.
What does it need? Why is it mad? Right? Start work. But often you need a physical outlet first. Yeah. Right? So, because your body does this when you're mad, right? And it wants to and parents will tell the kids, don't do this, don't do that. But often the kids are not given an opportunity to hear, but you can do this.
Yeah. Yeah. This is
right. But it's just don't. Yeah. Don't.
Yeah. So. Yeah. And you sort of, as a parent, you can watch, as a yoga teacher too, it's been really interesting, because I'll be like, whoa, to my children, come on, relax your shoulders. Oh, relax, let your body release. And then I'm sitting there like, oh. Yes. And you're like, oh, let's turn the mirror to you and say,
that's right.
Soften your jaw.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Mickey. So if people would like to contact you, to find you, how can they do so? What would
Okay, so there's a couple of places. I have a coaching website, which is living-onpurpose.com. Okay. So there's all kinds of information there about programs for kids, teenagers, families, all of that, moms. Cool. And then I have these beautiful little meditation characters that I've created that come with guided audios for kids. And they're called Healing Sprites. And that's healingsprites.com. And there's a really...
You want to talk to your offer that you have going on right now? Because this will be posted fairly soon. I just saw...
Yeah, okay, that'd be great. So yeah, I decided that giving in a bigger way was something that I was really being called to do. So right now we've got this really great promo, I guess it would be, where when you purchase a Healing Sprites kit, I'm going to donate one to a child in a rehab program in the hospital. Plus I'm going to donate $1 to the Breakfast Club of Canada. So it's, you know, you get this beautiful thing that teaches kids life skills. Somebody else's child gets it. Plus we're feeding, you know, little hungry bellies in the morning. So it's feeding minds, souls, and little bellies.
Oh, that can be your slogan there.
Yeah, it actually is. It's on the side. I haven't posted it yet, but it's coming. So.
Okay. And is that on the same website, or there's something for?
Nope, that'll be on the Healing Sprites.
Healing Sprites.
Yeah, and the sites are all linked to one another. So.
Perfect, and I'll put them under here too. So that.
Okay, that's perfect. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you for doing what you're doing. It's so needed for people to know it's okay. And if you don't know, ask for help.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. There's no shame in that, right?
Oh my gosh, no. It's this is what I say to my kids all the time. It's greater strength to ask for help than to pretend that you know.
Yeah.
That's how you learn, right?
There you go.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much.
No problem. Let me just finish our recording.